Good morning and welcome to the Houston Minority Business Development Agency's virtual Subs and Sandwiches webinar. Today, we have our friends and colleagues from Tellepsen presenting, and we're excited to hear what they have to offer. I am Marchette Turner, and I serve as director of the Houston MBDA. Our Subs and Sandwiches is one of our signature programs, and we are always eager to inform you about opportunities that await you. And of course, we hope you're taking advantage of these opportunities as they're presented. Now, let's go over a few housekeeping tips, and then we'll jump right into our presentation this morning. During today's webinar, all attendees will be in listen-only mode. There will be Q&A at the end of this session where my team and I will ask the questions of Tellepsen that you yourself type into the chat. This presentation is being recorded and will be made available to all registered participants for today. A few of my team members are here with me this morning, and of course, they are Ms. Jessica Vasquez, who serves as our program coordinator, and Ms. Deirdre Sutton, who serves as our business advisor. I will now turn it over to Mr. Terry Hargis, who serves as Executive Vice President for Tellepsen. So, Mr. Hargis, take it away.
Thank you, Marcia. Good morning, everyone. My name is Terry Hargis. So happy to be with you all today, and thank you for your interest and hearing a little bit more about Tellepsen. As a general contractor, we are very dependent upon our trade partners and our subcontractors for successful execution of the projects that we deliver. And so to that end, we're excited to be with you today, but also very, very thankful for the work that Marchette and her team at the Houston Minority Business Development Agency is doing for our industry, for this town, and certainly for us here at Tellepsen. So just a warm welcome from me. Thank you for being here. And I'd like to turn it over now to Mr. Jonathan Shaw, our Vice President of Business Development.
How we doing, guys? I hope everybody can see me and hear me okay. I know you guys are on silent. My part will be brief. I'm going to give you an overview of Tellepsen, a little bit of our history, the markets we serve, and kind of why that's important to you. So first off, thanks for having me. Again, Jonathan Shaw, Vice President here at Tellepsen. I've been here a total of 10 years and in the industry going on 17 years. So if you can see the slide, we were founded in 1909 right here in Houston, Texas. For those of you that do the quick math, that's 114 years young. That's how long we've been in Houston. So when we were founded, there were just 60,000 residents in Houston. Next slide, please. We are fourth generation owned and operated. So right there in the center is Howard Tellepsen. He's the chairman of our board. And you see to the left and to the right, his four boys who are actively involved in the business. So there's not many companies that make it 4 generations. We're super fortunate to be one. So on the left is Tad Tellepsen. He's our current CEO. Moving right, that's Tellef, who's a vice president of operations. And then Trent to the right, Howard in the center, is the president of our concrete company. And then on the far right is Trevor, who's actively involved in the board. Next slide. So again, founded in 1909, fourth generation owned and operated right here in Houston, Texas. Being around 114 years, we've grown as the city has grown. So our revenue, to put it in perspective, ranges between 350 and 500 million. I'll get more on the next slide, but if you can build it, we can bond it. So 600 million single project limit. I can't think of many projects that are bigger than that. There's only a handful in our market right now. So 1.2 billion aggregate bonding. Next slide, please. So over 300 employees. We regularly have over 300 employees, sometimes as much as 350. All that being said, that's good enough to put us in the top 5 in the HBJ for largest general contractors. I also want to mention that we're probably the largest, to my knowledge, Houston-only contractor. So we have national contractors that compete in our market, but we call Houston home. So to our knowledge, we're the largest Houston-only contractor. Being around that long, we have great subcontractor relationships. That's super important to you. It's extremely important to us. That's evident by being general contractor 3 years running to the ASA. So that's an organization of your peers and and we're their customers, and they voted us general contractor of the year 3 years running. So we're super proud of that. Also, safety and quality are extremely important. That's evident by us being voted safest in the nation for the last 5 years by the AGC. That's Associated General Contractors, the largest trade organization of general contractors in the US. Next slide. So these are our core values. These are who we are, why we exist. And I'm not going to read every one of them, but I'd love for you guys to. I want to highlight two that might be important to you. So being part of something greater than ourselves, that's a third one down. Why is that important to y'all? Because as we build projects, as we grow, and as we scale our business, we want you to grow with us. And so by us having you as subcontractors, you allow us to live out one of our core values of being part of something greater than ourselves. And also treating everyone like family. That's the second to the bottom. If you're successful, we're successful. And there's nothing more important than that. And that's the way we operate with our owners. And that goes down to you guys as well. So treating everyone like family, that includes subcontractors. Next slide. So I'll cover some of the market sectors. You probably recognize some of the projects. We operate in every major market sector in Houston, with the exception of single family and multifamily. We typically don't do a lot of that, but you can see some of the projects. If you're out west, you can see Texas Children's. That's in the Woodlands. You can look in the bottom right, which is our Memorial Park Land Bridge. Next slide. More projects that are infrastructure, lab and research, hospitality, structured parking, industrial office. Next slide. And then finally, interiors and multi-building campuses. And so if you notice, we have green boxes around some of the market sectors. Next slide. So the green boxes are for market sectors with clients that value MWBE, HUB participation. Sometimes they ask for it, sometimes they encourage it, sometimes they mandate it. So that's important to you guys because we've done $1.2 billion with local public entities and other companies that value MWBE, HUB, small businesses over the last 10 years. So those percentages range from 10 to upwards of 30. So that's why we need you. We can't achieve our business goals with our clients without you participating in our work. So again, it's super important to you guys. It's super important to us that we have your participation as a small business. So I'll turn it over to Alvin Rucker, and he can take it away. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Next slide, please. Good morning, everybody. My name is Alvin Rucker. I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for Tellepsen. When I joined Tellepsen about 2 years ago, it was because I met Tad Tellepsen, and he gave me a view into his vision for where he wants the company to go. As Jonathan had mentioned, we're a 114-year-old company, and Tad is a center piece of his mission for Tellepsen is having Tellepsen be a company for all. What that means to us is this: we've operated in the Houston market for 114 years. Houston is a very diverse place, one of the most diverse places in the country. We want Tellepsen to look like Houston, both in our internally and in our external relationships. And so that's my primary responsibility. I'm responsible for 5 areas: culture and recruiting, community engagement, subcontractor relationships, business development, and special entity development. We largely do that through relationships. And out to the left of my picture, you see some of the organizations that we form relationships with here in the Houston market. And that's designed to help us meet our goal of being a company for all and having an impact in having a real positive impact in the market in which we operate. Next slide, please. This is a picture of all the new hires in the year 2022. And as you can see, it's a very, very diverse group of persons. We spend a lot of our time making sure that we are recruiting in various places where we have access to all persons of color, in addition to folks in the majority. Our goal is to have the best group of employees that we can possibly have, and we believe that diversity is important in that endeavor, in that effort. Next slide, please. And as you can see there, these are some of the organizations that we spend a lot of time with in regards to achieving our mission. NAMAC is one, Greater Houston Partnership. We formed a partnership with TSU and their construction technology program, where we're providing support to students over there and giving them opportunities to have real world experience in regards to the construction industry. So we spend a lot of our time reaching out and just trying to have a positive impact on the diversity in the market in which we operate. Next slide, please. One thing that we're very proud of is that throughout the past, and as we continue to go forward, we strive very, very hard that when projects have a goal, have a WMB/hub goal, we generally meet that goal and exceed it. And that's something that we're very proud of and that we continue to do. One of the ways that we do that is in our subcontractor relationships, we want to make sure that you are as good as you can be. And so the way that we've set up our involvement with subcontractors is this. It's needs-based. Generally, when we meet somebody and get involved with them, there may be one particular area where they have need, and our job is to kind of hone in on that and be supportive and helpful in them being the very, very best that they can be. And we take pride in saying that, hey, look, whether you do business with us or not, your interaction with us, we hope to make you better and better prepared and more successful in the marketplace through your interaction with us. So anything that you need, reach out. Our information will be, I think, at the end of the slide, but I'm always available. So look forward to meeting you guys. Thank you. I think, is it Mike that's next? Well, there you see some of the senior team. And
yeah,
the folks
hey,
that...
I was muted, Alvin, my bad.
Okay, go ahead, man.
Hey, real quick, Jessica, I know Lena delays on the call. She's going to be speaking to our pre-qual. Is there a way to unmute her when it's her turn?
She'll be able to unmute herself.
Okay. And I'm going to talk to this real quick, and then I will turn it over to Lena. But this is something that should be near and dear to everyone on the call. Again, my name is Bill Brown. I'm a client executive with Tellepsen. I've seen a lot of names on here I'm familiar with, some that I am new to, but I'm no stranger to the minority and business community. As a matter of fact, it's a passion of mine for those who know me. So, but what I wanted to turn everybody on to, because there's not a lot of folks on the call. I think I saw Sam Hopkins on the call, but this list of people that are on the screen are what I'm calling the key players of this company. If you're ever going to get work with us, if you're ever going to pursue work with us, these are the key leadership positions within the company that you need to get to know. There's a lot, when you see ops lead, those are people that are my peers that do different aspects of Tellepsen, whether it be healthcare, higher ed, high-rise, interiors. That's those guys. We all know about what's coming up, and or we're chasing something, or somebody's brought something to us, and we're in heavy pursuit, and or we have won a job, and we're about to turn it over to operations. I probably should have started with Scott Parker and Sam Hopkins. You'll see at the top of the page, Scott and Sam both head up our pre-construction and estimating division, along with Jacqueline Judd. Those three, especially Jacqueline, they always know what's going on. They know about more jobs than any of us know, because they're out in the front of them, estimating and doing the things that they need to do prior to turnover to the operations team. So those are three key persons to know. And then you heard from Alvin, you've heard from Jonathan, you've heard from Terry. You'll soon hear from Lene about pre-qualification. But out of the entire organization, this is the group of people that can filter down throughout the organization. After we've met you, we vetted you, we feel like you're someone that we can do business with and or partner with, then we will spread your name across the organization, your company's name across the organization for potential opportunities. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lena to talk about pre-qualification.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lena DeLay. I'm the risk specialist here at Tellepsen. I've been here 16 years. I'm using 3 monitors, so bear with me. So why does Tellepsen pre-qualify? Well, Tellepsen also invests in subcontractor default insurance, which requires us to pre-qualify our contractors. At any time, our insurance provider can audit us to make sure that we are doing our due diligence with our trade partners. It's also to protect your business, our business, and our clients. An example of that would be if the trade partner overcommits and something happens financially or not enough labor, and then that turns into a contract deficiency, which obviously turns out negatively for all stakeholders. Next slide, please. So this is the process kind of that we handle with initiation. These are the top 3 ways that we get contacted for pre-qual to work with Tellepsen. Sometimes the client has a working relationship with a trade partner that they would like to use on their job. So at that point, we would reach out to that subcontractor and work on pre-qualification. Sometimes the subcontractors or trade partners will reach out to a Tellepsen employee, in which they'll turn over to me, and I'll start working with them to try to get them on the pre-qual list. It also can come from a subcontractor. They can go onto our website, and it allows them to see our pre-qualification form and contact risk management and estimating to let us know that they're interested in working with Tellepsen. Next slide, please. So once an initiation begins, these are the items that I ask from the sub. So I want their W-9 to make sure we have the correct information on file, the company associates, what kind of scopes of work they do, and if there's any certificates that subcontractor holds. Sometimes our clients have a hub project that we have to have a certain percentage of minority contractors. So this is important for estimating so that I can make sure that their profile is set up correctly so that estimating can search just hub or just women-owned businesses, so that we can make sure that we're getting the list that the client asks for. Next slide, please. We use a program called Smart BidNet. It is also for estimating and goes through pre-qualification as well. We look at a lot of different things on pre-qual, including like your backlog, your references, any certificates that you hold. The Tellepsen mainly focuses on safety and financials from the previous year. Tellepsen is a really big believer in safety. We really work hard to maintain a strong safety program. So your safety program matters deeply to us. Your financials get you to where you're going to be able to figure out your single contract limit. That way you're not exceeding your limits, and everybody should be in a more comfortable situation to perform the work. Next slide. So the determination of contract limits, I would just discuss that. And then after you're pre-qualified, then I send that information over to our estimating department, which allows you to end up on the invitation to bid list. Next slide, please. So these are ways to stand out. Obviously, again, Tellepsen takes safety very seriously here. Having your employees properly trained, OSHA 30, OSHA 10, first aid, and to make sure you have proper training based off your scope of work. If you're going to be traveling on aerial lifts, make sure you have that training. If you're going to be using ladders, scaffolding, those are some important factors to ensure that your employees are safe on the job. EMR rating is experience modification rate. That comes directly from your workers' comp provider and usually isn't really established until at least 3 years in business. Once 3 years in business, then you start to get a rate. Anything less than 1 is ideal. Of course, if you have a bond company, that's a good opportunity if you aren't able to meet the single limits based off your contract value just from financials alone. Well, then you also have the opportunity to bond the job to where you're double protected, and so is the client and Tellepsen. Strong financials is definitely going to be something because we want you to be able to have the highest level that you possibly can so that you can do as much work with Tellepsen as possible. And then the minority work, the certificates, they're really great for our estimating department and our clients. Next slide, please. So because it's through a portal, through SmartBidNet, these are some of the main things that happen. And then I have to go outside of the software and kind of back and forth emails to the trade partners to try to get them to complete this either by email or I can send them an RFI through the portal. We want to be able to make sure that all the documents are uploaded to the portal, which is SmartBidNet, to make sure that it's all a complete file to where, because once I get the pre-qualification package, I can review that within 10-15 minutes and have everything submitted. If I have to go back and forth by email to get the information that we need, then it just keeps time ticking. Miscalculation of your RIR, which is your recordable incident rate, is a common mistake. It's a calculation derived from your OSHA recordables and your man hours. A lot of companies don't record their man hours, but it's really important that you do because the calculation comes together to make your recordable incident rate. That is my portion. I hope I've been thorough. Of course, we have a Q&A at the end, but if there's any more questions, please let me know. I'm here to help. I'm more than willing to do whatever we need to do to get you guys on the pre-qual list and ready for invitations to bid.
So now it's my turn again. So again, Bill Brown, if you didn't hear me the first time, current executive with Tellepsen. I'm going to kind of sum up everything that everybody just said. You heard from Terry and Tellepsen's commitment to broaden our subcontractor database for our jobs. Then you heard from Jonathan on our history and the fact that we're Houston owned and bred and go back 113 years, 114. You heard from Alvin on our commitment to diversity. You've heard from Lena on our risk management. And that sums up everything that we need to know in order to get ready for these upcoming projects. The biggest fallacy I see when it comes to contractors, period, not just MWBE, is that we go to bid a job and for whatever reason, your pre-qualification is either expired or it's not there. It can make or break you on winning a job because there's only so much time that we have to pick who we're going to go with or who we're going to set up on when it comes to these projects. And if we don't know you or we don't know about you and the risk that's involved with doing business together, because of course there's a risk on your side, we want to make sure everybody's successful. So those things that Lena detailed that we talked about earlier, getting to know folks, the right folks that were on that slide I showed you with all of our lead guys in the company and ladies, those are very critical to getting shots at these upcoming projects. So we can talk about that more in Q&A if there's questions that you need or tips that give you on making sure you position yourself. But right now I'll go into upcoming projects. We didn't list all of our projects. We have several projects, many projects that we are working on that are within, I would call that the greater than 90-day scenario. We tried to focus on jobs for this call on jobs that are in our next 90-day window. And like I said, this is not all inclusive. So As you get to know the folks on our leadership team, they will then open you up to other jobs that they may have going and may want to give you an opportunity to pursue that work. So I'll start with the jobs that are on this first page are actually the jobs that I manage. University of Houston, Rice, Buffalo Bayou Partnership. University of Houston has a interior renovation project that we'll be bidding in October, give or take. It is a renovation to their Charles F. McElhenney building. It's basically a gut of the two floors. It's a 3-story building, gut the top 2 floors, and renovate the first floor. It's a $28 million project. It'll probably go out to bid around October. We're in the last stage of design to produce the construction documents, and then we'll go out to bid. Rice University, their McNair Hall expansion, that's going to be next month. It's coming out fairly quickly. We'll see construction documents from that team. And that is a $53 million job. It's an addition and a renovation to their business school. McNair Hall is their business school. And so that is September of 23. That's next month. Buffalo Bayou Partnership, the Turkey Bend Warehouse. Again, that one probably come out to bid in October. It's about a $13 million adaptive reuse. It's an old warehouse that we are converting into an event space, kind of a staple of the community down in the East End. And it's going to be a very, very landmark project for both Buffalo Bayou and the city of Houston. And then we have the East Park project. Some of these are a little ways out, but I listed them anyway because they kind of go hand in hand to some degree with Buffalo Bayou. Lockwood Park. These are all parks and recreation projects. There are some buildings on them, but for the most part, it's going to be heavy civil, landscape type of work, underground utilities. But Lockwood Park will bid in November, give or take 4.5 million. South Bank Trails, I put March of 24, but the reason I put it on there is because they're trying to move it up in the food chain. So it's 14.5 million. And then Tony Marone Park, same thing. The bulk of the job will start in 24, but there is a pre-engineered metal building and some work that's going to be done here that we're moving up. So I expect that bid notice to go out probably before the end of the year, probably November or December. So you can go to the next slide. So those are the projects that fall under my umbrella. And then some of the other guys that you saw on that screen, all of our other ops leaders gave me a few jobs to throw out there. Texas A&M University, this is a Lane Thompson job, if you saw that list. Relish STEM, going out October 23rd, give or take, 32 million. And then the Houston Food Bank, that is a November ITB, new construction, 85 million. Electrolit is a renovation, small interior renovation, 2.5 million. It's getting ready to bid as we speak. And then Samsung Controls, product expansion, 9 million, September of 23 next month for ITB. So next slide, I think that might be the last one.
This is the last one, actually.
Just making sure. So, like I said, I sum it all up to say we've got a number of different projects going on. We welcome and we encourage anybody that wants to participate in our jobs to get in contact with us, and we'll make sure we get you to the right folks. The key thing is, like I always tell people, we're in the risk business. So we need to make sure we understand who you are, what you bring to the table. We in turn understand that you need to know who we are and what we bring to the table. And we're here to protect the client, Tellepsen, and our subcontract partners. So we play a triple role when it comes to that, and we take a lot of pride in that. So with that, we'll turn it over. That's the conclusion of our presentation. We wanted to try to give everybody as much time for Q&A as possible. And so Marchette and Jessica, thank y'all for allowing us to do that. And we'll go to Q&A.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. That was a lot of information. And I do see that Lena has been responding to folks in the chat. So thank you so much, Lena, for your due diligence. Deirdre, are there any questions in the chat?
One question I see offhand is Hi, if we've completed our pre-qualification but aren't receiving ITBs, who should we contact?
Contact Will and Judd. We'll get you Jacqueline's information.
I
Yeah.
can take that one too. So I didn't find Richard's contact information in SmartBid, but if I have the company name, I can search for him. So it might be best to start with me, Richard.
Yeah.
Then that way I can either get you guys going or get you to the right person.
That's right.
Okay. And I did.
And Bill, I'm sorry, Bill or Lena or somebody, we're getting questions about if we can share this presentation. So are you all giving us permission to do so?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So yes, you will be getting this presentation.
Okay. And a question about BidNet. Once you're pre-qualified, you can go in and check on upcoming bids and the status of the bids, or is it just to bid?
When you pre-qualify?
Yeah, after you pre-qualified, you go into BidNet.
Yes, that is just to pre-qualify.
Oh, that's just to pre-qualify. So there's no bidding portal
No,
unless you use I²Foot or something.
we use SmartBid, but SmartBid, the way we work is we don't go out to everybody for every job. You just simply can't do that in most cases. And I try to be as transparent with people as possible. I know some people don't do that, and I try to be as transparent as we can. So
Thank you.
we look at a job, every job, and we decide who we're going out to based on the scope of work, the client. There's a number of different reasons why we do what we do, but
Yeah.
but you will be in SmartBid once you become pre-qualified, and then our pre-construction managers and our ops leads will create on just about every job. We create a list of folks that we go out to, and like I said, sometimes it has to do with your pre-qualification. If you pre-qualify at a certain level, then it's not ideal for us to go to you on a level that we know that you probably can't play because then that just sets you up for failure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's an invitation to bid.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Let's see. It just jumped on me. I had a question. How do one raise funds to execute government contracts? How do one get contracts in areas that haven't done contracts previously? Is there help with building up a great capability statement? Well, the minority business development.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Mr. Abraham, you need to call my office.
Right. Well, we'll get into the particulars of your individual business needs.
And Jessica will post the information you need in the chat for Mr. Abraham.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I see that some of these questions have already been answered, so I'm trying to see if we got anything new. Oh, thank you, Lena, for providing the link to the SmartBidNet pre-qual portal. That's going to be very helpful. So,
So there will be a process. So once I'm contacted via email, which I posted on this chat.
oh,
then I will reach out to them, and then as one of the slides pointed out, the W-9, the contact list, any certificate holders, so forth, and I'll just do that separately with each individual contractor.
Okay, sorry about that. We try to control it to the chat. Do you purchase mission critical UPS systems direct or through subcontractors?
Typically, that's going to be through subcontractors.
Okay.
Yep.
We
try to be thorough.
Lena, do you have anything?
The only other thing I mentioned to Jessica was our insurance requirements. Sometimes that can be not a stopper, but more of a negotiation at time of contract. So what I'm going to do is email her our basic standards, and that way maybe she can send that out with this presentation, because I handle insurance here as well for our subcontractors, and they can also reach out to me with questions over that portion as well, so they're not going to be in a situation when they get awarded a contract and then insurance becomes a negotiation at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Victor,
And some
I would
questions.
oh, you got another question? Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You sure, Bill?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll bring her in as soon as you get done. We've got a little time, so I wanted to bring in Susan Phillips with our safety, because that's
Okay.
too.
One question. Do they also sub out water and fuel leak detection systems?
Yes, that typically will go through us. So we sub, other than concrete, which is our building concrete solutions division of our company, we sub out just about the majority of the rest of our work. We do some self-perform, but very selective. So we sub out a majority of our work.
Okay, thank you. I do have another question, or do you want to stick to safety before I go to the...
Go ahead. I want to get that question answered.
Okay, the next question. This is from Vicky with Permit Us Now. Do these upcoming projects already have completed design plans and ready for permitting process?
Some of them do, some of them don't. Some of them are in the completion of the construction documents. In other words, they just finished the design development phase. But then there's other projects that are this month, next month. Those drawings are virtually complete. Whether or not they've gone through permit, I don't know. I'm not sitting here. We'd have to drill down and go get the ops lead for each job.
Okay, all righty. It looks like they assist with permitting. So
yes,
that was their question. What is the best way to search for contract opportunities? And I think we talked about that earlier.
Well, let's give the tip I have for everybody is the folks that you saw on that screen, and Jessica, if you want, go back to that screen that had all the faces on. Right there.
Okay.
That's how you get opportunities. You make relationships with these folks. You call me, you call Lena, you call Scott or Sam, anybody on that list, and you start to introduce yourself, your capabilities if we've never worked with you before, or if you've worked with someone else in the company, to have that person introduce you to us. But that is the start. And then once we get to, and I'll just speak from Bill Brown's perspective. By the time I'm doing business with you, I know everything about you. That's how you get work. In other words, I'm taking a risk on you, you're taking a risk on me. And for us to do work, we've got to know each other. We got to know what we're capable of. We've got to know what you've done in the past. We've got to get some references from some clients. And we go. It's very seldom. I hear this a lot. Why come you don't give jobs to minorities? Well, we don't give jobs to a lot of people that we don't know. It's not just minority and women-owned businesses, because we're in the risk business. Everything that we do is a risk, and so we have to manage those risks, and that's when we decide whether or not we're going to do business with somebody, and vice versa. You as a minority-owned business, or you as a small business or a business, should also do your homework on us to make sure you want to do business for us, with us. So it goes both ways, but we got to know each other so that we can make opportunities with each other.
I saw some questions in here, and if it's okay with everybody, I can go ahead and respond to some of these.
Yes, please.
For Vicky, for Permit Us Now, so we have different contract types. So for work that's not going to be permanently installed in the job, like permitting, consulting, x-raying, things that aren't going to stay with the job when we leave, when Tellepsen leaves the job, is a separate type of contract that I also handle. We use that as a vendor service agreement or a consultant's agreement, and those agreements are evergreen as long as insurance is in compliance. So reach out to me directly and we can discuss that. In terms of medical supplies, a lot of times, and in my short history here at Tellepsen, it has been that the client is the one that really purchases the medical supplies. very rarely do we get involved because of the very nature of medical supplies. You can try and reach out to me so I can maybe better understand your scope. My email is in the chat thread, and we can maybe talk outside of the presentation. In terms of Jared, so with the standard or the normal process, so once I get the completed pre-qual submitted in SmartBidNet, I can review that in 10-15 minutes, and you at that point can reach out to Jacqueline at estimating. You can see there at the top right. She is the coordinator and can start to include you into ITBs, which is invitation to bid, or let you know kind of where they are. I'm not familiar with the jobs that they're working on, but it starts with me and then gets pushed to estimating. So if you have questions, please contact me about that. Disposable tableware, to-go containers, and also safety PPEs. Okay, so that might also be like a temporary work that goes into the job because it's disposable. It's not going to stay with the job. Just reach out to me by email so I can better understand your scope. I think that's all the questions that I can see.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is it.
Mhm.
So let me bring in Susan Phillips. I think she's still on the call. Can y'all unmute her and let her talk a little bit about Tellepsen's safety program? We probably should have added it as part of the process here, but and I'll give you a quick story about where we're getting Susan up. But I had two minority-owned businesses that we were considering for Buffalo Bayou, one of the other jobs that we just awarded, and one of the subs came in, and their safety program was basically they didn't have a safety program. And so, long story short, we brought in Susan. Susan helped them through what it would take to get qualified through our safety program, but I had to walk away from them because we didn't have a safety program in place. So I want to let Susan talk about the importance of a safety program and some of the requirements that Tellepsen has, because between pre-qual and safety, like I said, those are two areas where we'll walk away from you pretty quick because you don't have it in place. Susan, you there?
Yes, sir, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I know I'll put you on the spot.
Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Susan Phillips, and I'm hopefully I can get to meet you one of these days. But honestly, I'm just going to give you a little bit of tidbit because Lena and I work very close together in regards to the safety portion of your pre-qualification. What I like to see is a safety manual that relates directly to your specific work. Do not hire a safety consultant or buy a safety manual from the website just because you're going to have a whole lot of programs there that do not pertain to you. So honestly, I look at to see how we can make things easier for you. The other thing, like Bill mentioned earlier, is that we look very closely at your training. What's important to us is that your foremen have an OSHA 30-hour training, and then as well as your workers have an OSHA 10-hour. You know, that can take some time, but there's some easy ways that you can do these trainings where it won't cost or where it will not be that costly. Also, we're going to evaluate what type of training your workers need. So, you know, I'm here to help. Honestly, it's a little intimidating sometimes, but there's so many websites that can help you. I can show you that as well. And then we can also give you some great feedback on what you do have and not have at the time that we're trying to get you pre-qualified. So, Bill, I hope I touched a little bit on what you needed. So training's a huge portion for us, and then as well to ensure that your program is in place.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Susan. We certainly do appreciate that.
Thank
Bill,
you.
if you were speaking, you were muted.
Yeah, I was thanking her as well, and Susan's right. I for those that know me, I've seen it in the previous company before. I've been with Tellepsen a year now. So, but I had a chance to sit down with Susan when she engaged the contractor that we had to walk away from, and I can speak personally to tell you she's there to help. She's not there to beat you up or make you feel less or inferior than anyone else. Our goal as a company is to get you to a point we can do business with you. So that Susan does a great job of doing that. So if you need any help with safety, even if you're not pursuing a job, just reach out to us. We're here to help. We're here to help the industry, not just Tellepsen and the jobs that we pursue. So if you need help on anything, just get a hold of us and let us know.
And we certainly appreciate that. That's one of the reasons that we so value our partnership with Tellepsen. So thank you all so much. This has, again, been a wealth of information. You all have given us and everyone on the call all the information we need to move forward in terms of doing business with Tellepsen. So again, we say thank you for that. And this was phenomenal. We're looking forward to more of our work together. So thank you to all of our attendees. Again, you will receive this presentation within 24 hours of this actual presentation. You'll receive it in your email if you were registered for this presentation. So thank you so much, and everybody have a great rest of your day.